tons of employees walked out of Google because they didn't want to do work with the Department of Defense, and an entire industry of folks stood up and said, "Oh, I do. I'm going to go start a
So,
company. I'm going to get after it."
yeah.
And so if you look at Replicator and you think, man, they're just not capable of doing it, that's not a big swing. $1 billion is not a big swing. It is a trial balloon. You look at the 150 billion in reconciliation, 40 of it goes to shipbuilding. So when there's $40 billion towards attritable drones, then I'll be like, yeah, we're taking some swings. One is a test. And I think the really serious players, and I count Anduril and Saronic among them, look at that test and go, okay, here's my lesson. I need to have a factory and I need to be able to crank stuff out so that when they swing again, hopefully bigger and better, I'm positioned. Because clearly I wasn't positioned well enough and AV stole my lunch. And I think that's great. I mean, I think that we talk about that outcome. The outcome of DoD trying $1 billion should be an industry going, cool, there's an appetite to spend the money, but they need better stuff to buy and they need it at scale if we're going to be like serious winners. And I think it's just, like I said, I think we're taking the wrong lesson. I think it's a really encouraging one. I think it just means we need to have factories built.
That's why that this is. I think I agree with you, Simon, and that's why a moment ago I said this was a communications and marketing or messaging problem
But they have to
between
talk about it that way, right? Like in order to fit in the policy structure of what the admin was doing at the time and like all those things.
but that is like an unnecessary tease and yanking out of the rug underneath the innovation ecosystem's feet, right? Like they thought this was going to benefit the non-traditional small players in the drone industry, and it absolutely didn't. Even like a minor signal, even a sliver of that $1 billion, right? Even a sliver of that would have served the purpose of continued inspiration and continued voting from the innovation and risk capital ecosystems to continue playing. And you know what? None of that stopped, right? Like people are still chasing these contracts. And I think it's because of the thing you just said. The lessons they've learned is that scale, manufacturability, supply chain, all of those things matter more in the long run to large acquisition program managers.